and throw them in this group. So I like the concept of the rule. I definitely want to work on the implementation of it for future seasons because an all-TBT group sucks.
Right.
He picked right, man, because he
No, for
dominated
sure.
that group.
Yeah.
I mean, he two
Oh,
out
was
he two out
hilarious.
everyone. Shuttle, I feel like he kind of got beat up a little bit. It was unfortunate. I mean, it wasn't huge domination, but I mean, he put up a fight. But I feel like he was Teja and June were just a little bit like one step up from him, and
Yeah.
he's an interesting
June-
player though, really daring with his drops.
The June versus Tasia games, like I think Tasia like really picked well because I'd look at positions where Tasia it seemed like he's behind, and then he just comes back and crushes through June. Like I don't actually understand how that happened, but okay. Like he did really good as far as picking his TBTs.
Yeah, well, Teja is one of those Terrans where he's severely underrated just because there's so many. There's MVP, there's Bomber, there's all these, huge name Korean Terrans, and he's never really had success in a GSL. But if you take just the GSL out and look at everything else Teja has done, for a long time now, he's been putting out some of the best results of any Terran. At one point, I know he was even first on the TLPD ELO for Korea because he was just winning so much, mainly in the Korean Weekly. But also when CSN did their Clash of the Houses where he sent Jelizerg to MLG, I think it was Columbus, Teja was second in that whole thing. He was literally just a couple matches away from taking that spot over Jelizerg. So he's always been on the cusp, and now after getting a lot of experience in these Korean weeklies, it's helped his confidence because it's obvious he has nerve issues. Every time he goes in GSL, he just doesn't look the same as when you see him online. So this has given him a lot of experience. I'm hoping, that he'll finally show himself in GSL and people are gonna see how good he really is.
Well, it seems to me like a lot of players are using play him dailies to get ahead. Now, play him dailies reminds me of, I don't want to use another golf analogy. Let's use a poker one. You start off in like playing 3-6 Hold'em, right? And you start doing good in 3-6, so you move up to a bigger game. You move up to 5-10, then 10-20, and then you're in a no-limit game, playing a totally different game all of a sudden, and you're doing well in no limit. Before you know it, you're in the World Series. So I feel like play him, like you should dominate. If you don't dominate play him, you're never going to, it's going to be, no,
Yep.
I don't want to say never, but it's going to be very hard for you to make it to the top of the scene. You should be dominating play him. But I feel like, and not to put play him down in any way, that's great, because that's what they do. That's the niche they fill, their daily tournaments. But I feel like Korean Weekly is like a tournament that's sort of, it's ahead in the regard of if you're constantly winning in a Korean Weekly, that almost is going to guarantee you success at some point. You're definitely going to get a shot into Code A if you're continually doing well in the Korean Weekly. And
we've seen that previously. I don't think there's been anybody that's done well across multiple weeklies, and I specifically say multiple weeklies because sometimes somebody has one breakout week where just they're on fire and they never are able to duplicate again. But anybody in the Korean Weekly that's done well over multiple weeklies has gone on to have success in GSL and other places. If you look at Puma, he won his Korean Weekly, I believe, 2 weeks before he took out NASL the season one.
Oh.
Jakji got his win at one of the weeklies. I think he was actually top 2, excuse me. And then he went and won the Grand Prix out of nowhere, and you know what? Next month he's in Code A, has one bad month, and boom, wins Code S right after. So I think it's given him a lot of experience, and I think that's what you're seeing show through. Not so much the weekly is like making these great players per se, but it's giving them experience when they're up there on stage with those Code S people or the Code A or the guys they've looked up to like Nada. They're going to say, okay, I've already played him in this online tournament 3 times, or I've already played him. It's not as big a deal. They're just more adjusting to the live crowd and live atmosphere, not the level of player and the live atmosphere.
Right.
Best counter to nerves is experience.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I love how Clutch says things. Like, it's not just that it's an intellectual statement. Like, when you read my poem, Clutch, and you did the Yorkshire voice, or whatever you want to call it, the
Acting, yeah.
Yeah, acting. So hard to pass in school, acting class. We're not going into that in this stem, I promise.
10 more weeks. All right.
So, yeah, no, it's like, can you say it again for us?
The best way to counter nerves is experience.
You see the pause, the head nod, and he's handsome. Like, it all comes together. That's why he's my brother. Anyway, so, Diamond, we're happy to have you on the show. We're going to touch on some other subjects that we can't wait to get your opinion on as well.
Sure.
Right now, though, the important one that I think is going to be closest to your heart and iGrox would be the Season 6 map pool, which I couldn't be more ecstatic about. Before we brought you on, we were talking about the way we met Grok was through Map of the Month, and me and Simpatico talked to him for hours, and then I was like, Clutch, you got to meet this guy, and then the maps, and then Travis, and Travis met him, and he's like, I love mapping too, mapping's the best, so here we go. Big! We finally hit the big time, buddy. So, ESV, rather. So, okay, so let's talk a little bit about the maps, which people should not glaze over, right? I'm so happy Apollo gave his time to go over the maps.
Yeah, those videos were really good, by the way.
Awesome, yeah.
I know Monitor watched the one, and Monitor is the map maker that made Core Hall Compound, watched the one that Apollo made on that, and he said, wow, he hit on every single thing that I designed with that map in mind. Like, Apollo wasn't just babbling for 18 minutes just making stuff. It was really deep and on point.
Yeah, and before you came on, we were actually just touching on that same subject. Let's talk a little bit about the maps that have been removed first. Zelnaga, which, I gotta be honest, I never thought I'd see go, man. I thought it was one of those maps that was just sort of had its...
It was time to take it out behind the woodshed, Tumba.
Yeah, it was. It really was.
Time.
But it's sort of one of those maps that have sort of sustained for so long and survived for so long. I can't say that it would matter because I would have vetoed it really anyway. But you know, it's kind of sad to see it go. Arid Plateau, I could care less. To be honest, I really wasn't pleased with the map. Everybody knows my opinion on Blizzard maps. Much like everybody else's, they're not very good. And I would chalk that one up. What? Go ahead, Grok.
Nope. Saving it for when we talk about these maps.
Okay, did you like Arid Plateau?
Nope.
Okay, did anybody want to start a rant on how they would like to see Arid Plateau?
I loved the natural in that map as a Terran. It was awesome because it was so easy to defend, but like so many. Oh god, I love that split natural. Like Helleen's in the back. Like, oh, it's so good. I'm gonna miss that map. I'm gonna miss Zelnaga too. I want a lot of games on Zelnaga because I'm Terran and I'm good before 15 minutes.
Jeez.
So for One Nation of Gamers, we had Cloud Kingdom. Fell in love with the map there. Was great to cast. And so, Diamond, I guess let's start off with you, and then we'll hit Clutch and Travis. And we'll let Grok fester and have his thoughts. Let's start with Cloud Kingdom and talk a little bit about that one.
Sure.
Off
What do you... oh, hold on, I got it. The airdropping ad in one of the streams. Sorry, the Chevy commercial. Yeah,
Oh, Chevy.
Oh,
I'm so glad I'm Canadian and I never see that ad.
Oh, be glad. It's pretty loud.
But I have this one for. I was talking about this on the stream actually. In Canada, we get this ad for like a dishwashing detergent or something, and the first thing like you hear when this ad comes on is this woman goes, "I'm a rinser," exactly like that, like total full-on lisp, like I'm a rinser, and I'm just like I want to punch my monitor and kill something beautiful. It just drives me crazy.
Okay, so on to
Sorry, tangent. That's what Stimcast is about.
I'm very happy that is in the ladder. Obviously, I like the map, it's CSV. It was one of those maps, I very rarely have this moment, I've only had it twice, where the moment I opened the map and spent about 2 minutes in it, I said, wow, we got something really special here. Cloud Kingdom was one of the very few maps I somehow just didn't notice Super OU Man making in the group chat. I must have missed when he was talking about it. And I was looking for a 2-player map for the Korean Weekly, and this is before it won TLMC, this is before ladder, before everything. And I'm going through our shared folder. We keep all our maps on Dropbox. And I pull it up, I look at it, and I go, well, this is amazing. This is our first GSL map right here. I knew it the second I saw it. And the only other time I had that moment was with Testbug, and that ended up, at the time, being very, very successful.
Yeah.
So I immediately put it in the Korean Weekly, and it got great results off the bat. And then it won Team Liquid map contest, so I had been bugging Mr. Che for the last year to put our maps in to GSL. And he was, him-hawing, our mappers are good, we're not sure. As soon as it won Team Liquid map contest, that made it a very hard counter-argument. You guys, your map makers threw maps in this contest, and they didn't win.
Yeah.
So that really helped, and then it's just to up the thing. The thing I like about Cloud Kingdom is it really, as the game goes on, they said this, I believe, a Team Liquid preview of it for the GSL, is that it encourages multiple forces throughout the maps later on, once you get to 4 or 5 bases. And one thing I've been really have on my mind a lot lately is I think Blizzard has a lot of really good concepts. They just execute them poorly. And one of their concepts I really like is the idea of versus fixing the death ball, making it so the death ball has to have more units out of it, basically splitting the death ball up in other ways. And I think Cloud Kingdom is a very good map for that later in the game. I think if you death ball, short of your opponent massively screwing up, they should be able to punish you pretty hugely for it because you're not going to be able to control all those different ramps, all those different run-by places.
But yet it still gives Protoss an option to force field. So it's not like it's gimping
Yes.
Protoss per
Right.
se.
Yeah.
It's just making you play more tactical, which I think is good. I think that's a good thing.
Well, I think you even saw it in the GSL, and I could be wrong about, maybe it wasn't GSL, but there was a game where the Protoss on Cloud Kingdom was attacking with like 3 armies in 3 places across Cloud Kingdom. One army was at the 3rd, one army was at the 5th, and one was attacking the low ground 4th. And he was just, and even the commentators were like, "Wow, I can't believe this. I've never seen a Protoss split up their army like this and not just die for it immediately."
Yeah, and that's how we start to see maps influence. One of the things that Simpatico and I learned, and we spent, like I said, hours with Croc just grilling him like school students, and he was the teacher, and he was bringing us up to speed. It was like one of the things we learned was how influential. Of course, Brood War maps for everything. SE2, same thing, man. This can actually influence and develop new metagame and take the game to new places, and that's what's so exciting. And it's about the community too, man. And it's a community-made map. Travis, what are your thoughts on Cloud Kingdom?
I think it's really good that actually a custom map is going to make it to ladder. I mean, we've been waiting for it for quite a long time, as I'm sure you know, Jack, and you have too, Patrick. Like, it's really good to see that Blizzard's finally, like, they're not putting in Backwater Gulch or like what was the other one? Abyssal Caverns. And
I'll never let them forget Nezrim Crypt.
Nerazim Crypt. Holy
Yeah, Nerazim
Worst
Crypt.
map
God.
they've ever put in the ladder.
like,
Yeah, that was terrible.
I would rather play on steps. Seriously. I would,
To
Simpatico
piggyback
and
on-
I let out a stereophonic "what the fuck" when we first played that map.
Yeah. I actually want to piggyback on Travis's point for a second.
Yeah.
I really sincerely hope the community posts and becomes active about Cloud Kingdom and Core Hall, because this is like a precedent setter, right? Depending on the success and reception of this map, are they going to do it in Season 7, right? Are they going to add more community maps? Are they going to support mappers a little bit more now? Like, people need to get involved about this, because maps obviously are, like, they're what we play this game on. It's the pitch, it's the field, right? So it should be important to every StarCraft player, from Bronze to Grandmasters. So I really hope people, pay attention.
Right, and definitely what you said for sure, but one of the best ways, now that it's in ladder to support the map is ladder more. And I think this is based off no inside information, but just sort of common sense. When Blizzard did their Making Maps tournament style, where they block close, and I think they removed some other maps, I'm very, very sure they had great success with that. For a game like StarCraft, they want more games played each month. The more games played, the bigger a number they can give to investors, et cetera, makes them look better. And you saw the overwhelming reaction to that, and the fact that there was Team Liquid map contests. They've now added community maps. So if people are laddering more, that's going to be the signal they need, that, hey, this is working. I think that's what they saw when they made the first set of changes as far as blocking close and removing, I think, Backwater and Nerazim and some of those other crap maps. The best way to support them is
slow
to
to
play 'em.
respond. They kind of shot themselves in the foot. Yeah, they responded after BlizzCon when everybody was live at the event going, "What the? Oh, look at what you're doing."
Well, that's sort of how the nature of the beast. Until there's a public
Yeah.
demand for something, they're
I
not
mean,
going
the
to go
demand
fix
was
it.
there. It just wasn't.
It wasn't
live.
really before.
It wasn't- it
BlizzCon
wasn't-
was the instigate, really set it off.
on Team Liquid there was, but in the general SAT community as a whole,
Blizzard was at MLG Anaheim, and they didn't remove closed
Yeah.
spawns.
Yeah, this is the same company that did not strike when the iron was hot when Dota was with Warcraft 3 and look at the aftermath after that.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're starting to learn their lesson of, hey, maybe we should get involved when other people outside of our company have great ideas.